My inspiration has been, the success of my parents.
Mm.
I love reading, and I challenged myself to first go into the webinars,
Sure.
and then seminars like I Love Learning and the Learning Curve,
Mm-hmm.
etc. And I met my husband through the feast with Brother Bo Sanchez.
Wonderful. Okay.
And so that set the stage of
Of your whole
allowing us to feel
experience.
comfortable with the stock market.
Wonderful. So let's now talk about risks. What is your definition of risk?
For me, it's really what I'm willing to lose in going into this venture. For me, it's always an adventure. It's always calculated in that sense. Am I willing to lose this much if I'm not able to keep up with my obligations and still not lose my footing in terms of being a productive person on an everyday basis?
So risk is something that you might be afraid to go into.
Yes,
Those are the words you use.
yes.
Because you might possibly lose.
Yes, and not be able to,
Right.
yeah, to get the return that I would like on my investment.
Okay. And it seems like many people are intimidated by that thought. Do you agree? I mean, is that what you notice also?
Yes, very much so, especially in our local setting, in the Philippine setting, where you have really just, at that time when I started investing in the stock market, about 1% of Filipinos would be involved. I think at this point, a lot more. And the online investing was just starting at that point in time. And I said, why are so many people talking so negatively about the stock market? I have to try my hand at this. Because, end of the day, having met at the feast, Brother Bo at that time was saying, do like an easy investment plan or a cost averaging method, and always make sure like 20% save it, 10% tithing, and then, the rest that you can live on,
Okay.
And so basically what I did was I tried the easy investment plan. Yes.
What are the misconceptions that other people also have when it comes to the idea of risks?
Misconceptions being they're not in full control. Because if they don't know enough, then they'll have to rely on someone they trust, whom they end up blaming if things don't go quite well. Because end of the day, there's a point of attachment to money that I believe one has to get over with. It's like, that's why it always has to be a certain percentage, only a certain percentage of what you really have
What
in
sort
different
of percentage?
instruments.
Yeah.
So,
Let's just probe that a little, because we're looking at the common misconceptions people have about risk. And what you just shared right now is it's experience can be a powerful teacher.
yes.
Is that also a misconception that risk will not teach you, but instead will
Make you
burn
lose.
you? Can you help clarify that?
It's always very important that when you invest in something riskier, it's very important to remember that the higher the risk, the higher the possibility of the rate of return. And so I balance that. I ask myself the question first, are you a person who's willing to actually risk above the average and expect an above average return, or the flip side?
Okay.
Before I invested and tinaya ko, diba?
Sure.
Yan. So I think that's one of the questions. Am I able to actually stay in the market even if I know I'm losing within that year, not touch it and wait it out? So I ask myself that question. Also, am I willing to actually stay and leave my investment for that amount of time for retirement without touching it for emergency purposes? So I had to have an emergency fund.
Sure.
So at the same time, the working fund. So these things had to be in place. All the necessities first.